Any funny stories, like having seizures in public where you came to and maybe ran away? I left the hospital one time, um, and the police actually made it to my house before I did. So then once I got there, my parents were like, "Hey, what's up? What are you doing?" I got the gauze on my arm because I did it myself, pulled the IV out, and it was just, I was like, they make it look so easy, but it didn't work for me. I put the gauze on, the gauze was like really red, and I walked like an hour and a half home. So, yeah.
Damn, but your seizure lasted for that long? Or were you just,
No,
did you wake up like halfway through?
no, I was at the hospital, and
Oh, and that was just when you came out of it. Okay.
yeah, when I came out of it, I was like, I'm out of here, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
And yeah, don't hold me back. It was like, well, I'm not seasoning now, and you guys are just trying to keep me here. So, hey, Rick,
Hey,
we're
Rick.
talking about crazy seizure stories.
Oh, fun, fun, fun.
Right? You got any stories?
Well, yeah, so I had a brain abscess and I was supposed to be at work, and I wasn't feeling good. And I told my boss, you know what, I'm not feeling good. And good thing I didn't, because it was like an hour and a half drive to get to work. I was almost done with work and fell to the floor, had a seizure. I woke up to my wife, all upset. She's like, "You okay? You okay?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? I must have fell asleep." And I went to go back to went to go back to work, and my wife's like, "No, you had a seizure." I'm like, "Whatever, I did not." So she got my son and started pulling on me to get to the car. She was going to take me to the ER. So I said, "Okay, hold on. Let me go tell my boss I'm not done." She's like, "No, you got to go to the hospital now." And when I got to the hospital, I don't remember anything until I was in the ER, and they did a quick CAT scan, and the guy who did the CAT scan says, "Oh yeah, look, you had a seizure, you're all entitled to one," and just dismissed me. I'm like, "Oh, didn't know it works like that."
What are you
So
taking?
fast forward. What's that?
What are you taking?
Oh, so I was taking Keppra. That made me super manic, where I was up for 23 hours a day and just talk, 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 talk. So they switched me over to lacosamide.
I haven't heard that one, but I'm on 200 milligrams of Lamictal twice daily.
And how's that?
Uh, it's better than Keppra did for me. Keppra, I was on Delanton at first, and Delanton it was like 10 to 12 a year, maybe more than that. And then after 4 years, I went to Keppra. Did Keppra for 3 years, and it didn't really work. I was having like two a month, and I was like, it doesn't exactly work for me. Um, then I went to Lamictal, lamotrigine, and it's all right. I have like five a year. They're spread out, so I wouldn't say they're under control, but they're more spread out. It's less than it was with other ones. The other one
Right,
wasn't
right.
working. But I'm just now finding out what other seizures are because for a while I was thought I knew everything, but I knew nothing about epilepsy. Um, Doctors would ask me, I mean, ambulance would ask me, what kind of seizure did you have? And I'd be like, the one where you shake.
Right, right.
I learned that I have myoclonic, TC, um, yeah, and what's the other one called? Focal.
Vocal, okay.
Yeah, I got some crazy focal stories if you want to hear.
Yeah, that
One was
sounds fun.
one was at a train station. Seen the train coming, backed up so I don't get hit. Came to.
Smart.
When I came to, I was like this, taking a selfie. Train was driving off. That was it. I laughed, but I can't imagine just
Right,
people just sitting there looking at me, just looking
right, right,
like you see something, say something.
right.
But yeah, I've walked into people's houses, told them get out. It's my house. I walked in a rehab
Oh,
and told
wow.
everybody get the fuck out of here. It's my house.
Wow.
Luckily, they knew someone that I lived with, and yeah, I'm here to tell the story. Um, You have bad memory? Because I have horrible memory.
Yeah, so I used to have a really excellent memory, and that went out the window. So everybody that I know, when they say, "Oh, you remember Bob?" I'm like, "No, no, I
Mm-mm.
don't," and they're not used to that.
Right. My memory is so bad that some people don't even believe me. Some people started telling me, "Oh no, you're just telling us that. You just don't want to believe what you believe what you want to believe." I'd be like, "Hey, if I could remember, I would. I would like to remember. So know
How many
that."
how many times have you had people come up to you and like fully shake your hand and know you, know your name, and you're like, "Oh fuck, I have no
Oh,
idea who you are."
I've done that.
Like,
I've done
I
that. I've had someone pull over and like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I'd be like, and
uh,
she's like, "Do you know me?" And I was like, "Your face is kind of similar, but I don't know your name or the voice." And then she tells me, and then I'm like, "Oh,
I
okay."
but
Still don't
and
remember because I'm like,
but
"Oh,
yeah,
okay."
exactly. You're like, okay, cool. Knowing the name still doesn't help me remember the first time I met you. I That interaction still is not here.
Yeah. She's like,
this
"Oh, I
is
remember you had a seizure down the street, and a lot of us were outside." And yeah, I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you should know. I don't remember you or your name."
because this is a situation that's happened to me before. I just go along with the conversation, like
Yeah,
I
try to
have to.
improv. Yeah, like,
play it off. Yeah.
oh, okay, yeah, whatever. I just go along with the conversation.
Right.
It's just ridiculous at a certain point. I
Yeah.
know it's
Yeah,
not
I
healthy, but to do that, but okay, I'll pretend I know you.
Rick,
right.
do you think it's the pills?
Um, so that's hard to say because I was off pills for a bit and my memory did not improve. So I started a new job and
Uh,
I started meeting people, and then a few weeks later they come by and they start talking to me like they know me and they're like, "Oh, how do you like the area?" I'm like, "Oh, I guess we met." So what I do is I just carry around a notepad and I just tell people like, "Sorry, do have epilepsy and my memory is shot, so I'm gonna write your name down."
right. You ever had any at work?
Yes, I was walking back to my desk and all of a sudden I felt like I was having a hot flash and I'm like, "Oh no, don't do it here, don't
Really,
do
I
it here." I'm
hate
like, "Huh?"
those.
So I found a chair nearby, sat at somebody's desk, and I don't remember what exactly happened, but I do remember like as I was going into it, everything sounded like really muffled but loud.
Hmm.
And I felt like I was sweating, felt my heart rate going up, and then like I blanked out, and next thing I know, there's like three people and said standing next to me, like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Now I am," and I got up and walked away.
Oh
You
wow.
guys ever I forgot what I was gonna say. What about the night sweats? Anybody get that? I get night sweats. And sometimes it's worse than others, but yeah.
Sometimes, I think, but when I was on the Kepra, definitely.
I'm on Kepra, and I was just about to say, like, I feel like I've gotten more night sweats than I did like before I got or before I had epilepsy before I started my meds. Um, so yeah, I think Kepra definitely is like something that adds to the night sweats for some reason.
Hmm. Hey Rick, you ever had any during sex?
Actually, yes.
So have we.
My man.
Yep. Yeah, yeah. That's why I said, "Call me James Bond." I'm shaken, not stirred.
Man, I had two, and I think they were just situations where they shouldn't have happened because I was sneaking in my girlfriend's house, and yeah, shouldn't have happened. Then I did it again, like a week later. Seizure again, shouldn't have happened. I guess they only found out because she had to call the ambulance. So hey,
Oh, whoops.
right?
Did she give you that thing back?
Yeah. Um,
Rick, since you're on Kepra, like, did you already mention the Kepra rage? Did you ever like experience any of that?
So yes, but my neurologist thought it was more from the recovery from having brain surgery. And I didn't stay on it that long because I was so manic where I was just, like I
Right.
was awake 23 hours a day and I was talking so fast. And
Yeah.
I would, in the middle of a conversation, I would start a second one, then I would start a third one and go back to, I was confusing everybody. And they lowered my dosage. That didn't help. So they said, okay, we're taking you off of that and put me
Yeah.
on lacosamide. And then I was off lacosamide for a bit because my neurologist thought, well, you got rid of the abscess, so let's see if you have a seizure after that. And I made it almost a year and had one. The ER put me on Depakote, and that medicine made me super tired, muscle fatigue, muscle aches. And I said, can you put me back on lacosamide? And then I've been on that now, and it's been
Oh,
much
okay.
better.
So you've got experience with like several different ones
Yeah,
you can sort of attest to how they affected you at least. Obviously different
right.
for different people, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Forgot what I was gonna say. Anyhow, let's move to something else. You ever had one driving, Rick?
No, fortunately not while
Good.
driving.
Good for you, because I have. Yeah. But I'm gonna go to this thread where I asked people that, and someone said I had a seizure August 31st, 2024. I had been seizure free for about 2 years. I missed one dose of the meds because the pharmacy was out. Instead of turning, I kept going straight because I was seizing. I drove through the median, through a fence, and hit a tree. I live in eastern North Carolina, so it's very rural. My phone, SOS called 911, and I woke up to a ton of ambulances. They took me to a military hospital because it was the closest. I ended up having 2 more seizures that night and stopped breathing and turned gray. I've only had one seizure since then because I was sick. Needless to say, I won't be driving again. Good, good, good. Um, yeah. It's crazy stories. I had one time where I stopped breathing and I turned purple. And since the city where I'm from doesn't have a helicopter pad, a landing pad, I guess, they picked me up from a school, the field.
Oh, wow.
I had one at a school one time. So my job, I work with fifth graders, so like 10, 11 years old. And one of mine was in the middle of one of their classes. So the next day, a kid who was not in my class walked up to me and went, "Are you the guy who had a seizure?" Uh, to which I had to be like, "Yes, yes, that was me. Sorry." But I I do hope that me having one in their school at least made the kids go, "What was that? What is this condition?"
Yeah, that's why
Maybe.
I'm kind of doing this epilepsy
Yeah,
awareness.
exactly. Like, even though it was probably traumatizing, it was at least a little bit of a lesson in terms of like, this is life, folks. Some
Yeah,
people have conditions.
Right,
I
right.
mean,
yeah.
kids
Have
are
you
pretty
guys ever
strong. I
seen one of
think.
yours on camera?
Oh, sorry, there was a couple voices. What did you say?
Oh,
You ever seen a seizure that you had on camera?
No, I honestly don't know if I want to see it, but like, how do you guys feel about that? Because like, I feel like I want to see it, but
Camera over
also,
there.
huh?
Camera over there. In my bedroom, I got a
Oh,
camera over there.
Oh,
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 I was
okay.
like, what are you pointing at?
Yeah.
yeah, I thought it was pointed at me or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a camera over there. I've seen two.
Was it scary for you?
Uh, when I seen it, I was like, wow. I was like, I could have fucking killed myself because I was like wrapped up in the blanket. And
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that looks crazy. And it was like 30 to 40 seconds. And I was in a room alone. And when I sat up, I looked out the door straight into my sister's room. And she's like looking at me and she's like, why are you looking stupid? And I was like, oh, okay.
Hmm.
I'm not
Then she
stupid.
came in and then I started screaming and she's like, oh, that's what's going on. I get it.
Well, as
Yeah.
to be honest, I always hear about it, but I would like to see, how it looks like. Because I hear it years for years and I just can't imagine how it really looks like. So I would love to
Yeah.
see, to be honest. Yeah.
I seen another one where I was standing and I was right in front of my entertainment center And if my uncle didn't catch me, I would have fell through the TV. But he called me as I was falling.
Because
And
he cared about the TV. Let's be honest. Come on. Kidding. Keep
the
going.
TV had it coming.
And what about you, Kevin? Would you want to see it or?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Understandable.
Hard no.
I've seen people have seizures, but so that yeah, no, I wouldn't want to see myself have one. They're pretty they freak me out. The person watching a person have a seizure, so wouldn't want to see myself do that.
Okay, so I had a seizure. Well, I had seizures to where I was I guess I was seizing, and the direction my head was looking, I couldn't move, I couldn't talk, but I guess I was having a seizure. But I was watching someone in my family just in panic, and I was like, wow, this is what's going on. And then sometimes it happens like that to where I'm just having a seizure, and the direction my head's looking, I'm watching people in panic. I've seen some breakdown, some crying, some pull over the car.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Have any of you guys ever like say you were going to the grocery store or something? I'm using that as an example because this is what happened to me. I was having a focal the entire time I was doing my grocery shopping, from when I left my house to when I got back. And like, I remembered it, but the whole time I didn't like really have any sort of control. My body was just on autopilot the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't even think I forgot anything. I think I got everything I needed too.
That's impressive.
Right.
I
Completed the grocery shopping.
Yeah. That was the only task my brain could accomplish, was just grocery shop. Do it. That's it.
Right.
Okay. And then still being able to do the whole grocery shopping, it's like I don't understand it. Like,
Yeah.
what's happening?
Well,
Right.
that's why when they say like, our brain we only use, what is it, like 10% of our brain or something? It's like, no, that fact is actually wrong. It's you're using like certain parts of your brain at different times. So if like one part is not working, your brain is able to shift to the other part of your brain and use those synapses instead. So,
Right.
it is, possible to, continue to function despite having a seizure. So,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So one thing that I was doing, and first we attributed it to the brain surgery recovery, where my neurologist had warned me that my processor speed was slow. So if I had a bunch of inputs coming in, my brain would kind of like, okay, let's prioritize what's more important. So if I had too many inputs, I would kind of slow down. Well, it kept happening, especially like if I was like in a restaurant, you got a bunch of conversations going. So I would close my eyes and kind of reboot. So my new neurologist says, "Oh no, that's actually a seizure you're having. It's a micro partial." And now I have
I've had
temporal
those.
lobe. I have temporal lobe epilepsy. That's the version that I have. So anytime I close my eyes and I just blank out for a few seconds and then everything's fine, that's me rebooting, basically.
Yeah, someone told me about a petite mal, which is basically like grand mal, but I don't exactly know what else. Petite mal. So, like I said, I thought I knew everything about epilepsy, and I knew absolutely nothing. I came and learned a whole bunch. I learned that I'm having seizures that I didn't know I was having for 10 years.
The
I feel
best
like
thing that
Yeah.
the best thing that I learned in this group is my neurologist never really mentioned it, but reading all these stories about memory loss and people being forgetful and everything really helped me, like understanding that I'm not dumb.
Yeah.
Like it's not I'm not stupid. It is something that comes with it.
Yeah. It's just
So-
something that comes with it. And
Yeah. That really helped me.
I feel like I'm talking to someone who just understands. Someone's coming where I'm coming from, and I don't have to feel like that person's laughing at me. They're kind of laughing with me, And the little jokes, I can't take that from anybody else. But yeah,
Like for all the the bad things that have happened to you that you can now laugh about yourself, that we're laughing coming from places that we've also shared basically the same exact thing. Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
not, maybe not to the same extent. I know you crashed your car, but it's like we know exactly what you're talking about, unlike other people who may not even know what epilepsy really even is. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. So,
Yeah, someone told me, I didn't really think he understood how offensive it was, but I did kind of laugh at it. He was like, I know you were having a seizure because you started dancing. I was like, what? He was like, you started doing your dance.
Oh.
I was just like, it's kind of funny, but coming from you is kind of offensive. But yeah.
it depends on who says it. Yeah. If it's like your best friend or whatever, you can be like, fuck you. But
Right.
if it's just like some random dude, you can be like, yeah, not cool. Not cool.
Right. And somebody else was like, you started doing the Harlem Shake. And I was just like, it's funny, but it's not. But yeah. Now they just call them episodes. And I'm like, okay, I can deal with that. An episode. Yeah, that's pretty easy. I mean, pretty easy to take from somebody. You had an episode. Okay, nice. I know what you mean. Someone be like, hey, you did the Harlem Shake. I'm going to walk away.
Before I started having epilepsy, I too thought that it's just the falling on the ground and shaking and have this tonic-clonic.
Because that's what you see in TV and movies.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's all you ever see.
I never thought about like memories lost and all these other stuff that come with it. Like there need to be a little bit more information spread out. Like, I don't know, like.
It's not as dramatic for TV shows if you don't show somebody shaking, I think.
Yeah. If you just show someone zoning out for like 2 minutes and then them being like, huh? It's like it's more confusing for the audience, but if you show that, it's like, oh, we know what's happening.
I did all kinds of stuff, like go to stores and then come right back with nothing. Go to the mailbox, come back with nothing.
Right. The funniest one I had, it was still early on. I had taken a shower and then I passed out from having a seizure. And when I woke up, I was on the floor and I was like laying up against the side of the tub. And I'm like, huh, okay, I guess I fell asleep. Okay.
Right.
And I hear my wife upset in the other room on the phone. And I thought she said her ex-husband fell. I'm like, oh no, poor Tim, he fell. Well, wait, why is his wife not calling? Oh, maybe he fell and she fell too. And this is going through my mind. And I hear the sirens getting closer as the ambulance was coming. I'm like, no, they're supposed to be going to New Jersey, not here. So then they come in and they start picking me up. I'm like, what are you doing? Tim fell, not me.
Right.
And as I'm in the ambulance, they're calling it in to the dispatch or wherever, and they said, okay, we got the fall victim. I'm like, whoa. It's not even summer, it's spring. I'm not a fall victim. And they're looking at me and they're like, no, you fell. Like, I did not. I said, you're telling me that I fell, hit my head in the side of the tub. There's no blood, there's no broken bones, there's no bruising. I did not fall. It took them a long time to convince me that I fell.
Right.
Our brains can be really funny when we're popsicle though, because it like we'll be so adamant about something. Like, no, I know I am right. Like with like with Pookie being like, no, this is my house.
Right.
So I got people telling me all the time, I'm a spring victim. I'm not a fall victim.
Well, and Rick, you missed my funny story. So one of my seizures, I absolutely needed to wear one of my girlfriend's like nighties. I don't know why, but I was just standing there Winnie the Poohing with my dick out, and then realized it didn't fit me before she got me back to bed.
I think you posted that. I think I read
okay,
that.
So
I was cracking up over that. Yeah.
That was me.
Yeah. Well, now I got a visual. Great.
Panic attack versus seizures. What are the characteristics that set a panic attack apart from a focal seizure?
Mhm.
I think a
Maybe.
panic attack comes with the anxiety, so you're panicking because you have anxiety.
Yeah. I've never suffered from a panic attack, but I know people who have, and it generally that's like more of a like a physically like you can't move, like um your brain is just so overwhelmed with like all the anxiety that it becomes a physical response where I don't know, when we have focals, like we've said, we can still function and like do stuff. We're just sort of out of it.
And I think you wouldn't get a panic attack when you're laying in the bed, like, relaxing and stuff. While having a focal or a seizure can happen while.
Yeah, at any point. Yeah.
Yeah. But a panic
I've-
attack is, as you said, always associated with. Yeah.
I've
What were
only
you
had
gonna
one real panic attack in my life, and that was a panic attack for sure. And it happened when I drank way too much coffee. I had like 8 cups of coffee one day,
Oof.
and I don't drink coffee anymore. That's
That'll
why.
do it.
That'll
Yeah.
do it.
I don't know how long the panic attack. It could have been an hour. It could have been 5 minutes, and I was just like frozen on the floor, like I'm gonna die. I'm gonna freaking die, and it was awful, but it was not a seizure, and that was way different from a seizure. But yeah, I mean that whatever that was awful. I mean, but
And you really felt it like in your whole body, right? Like,
everything, like my mind, my body, that was just weird. That was
Yeah.
bizarre. But I don't have those. I only had that once my entire life, and yeah, but whatever that was not a seizure. I mean, no.
I don't think I've had an anxiety attack or a panic attack. I just have the seizures. So
Do you smoke like normal cigarettes? Do they
no, I
have-
don't smoke cigarettes.
Okay.
No.
Because I do, and I feel like it's a trigger for me, to be honest.
Mm.
That's why.
tobacco is a stimulant. So, like if you consider it like an upper versus a downer, like tobacco is an upper,
Okay. Yeah, this could be. Yeah. Because I always feel like I always have a small, really small feeling like, okay, it could be happening whenever I smoke. And
Yeah.
after I realized that I stopped it completely, I was like, no, thank you. I don't need
Yeah.
it.
I feel like for most people with epilepsy, a lot of times it is like it's the overstimulation versus the understimulation. So any sort of like anything that's gonna add stimulation to
Overwhelming.
your brain is
Mhm.
going to make it easier for a seizure to happen. Not saying it's going to, but it's going to make it easier.
Yeah.
So I'm going to run through a few of these responses to that panic attack versus seizures. Someone said, I can run from what's triggering panic. I can't run from a seizure. He said he's on Vimpact and Lamictal. Heard of Lamictal because I'm on it. Vimpact, haven't heard of. Another
So
person said,
Vinpact is also lacosamide. Lacosamide is a generic of Vinpat.
oh, okay. Someone else said, an anxiety attack is overwhelming anxiety bordering on fear that causes you to sweat, shake, pace, feel out of control. When it resolves, you don't have the headache and yuckiness if it was a seizure, but sometimes they're difficult to differentiate, so you're going to need to get evaluated by an epileptologist.
Epileptologist.
Yeah.
I know it's a tough word. Yeah, there's so many weird words that we have to deal with.
I know.
Yeah. Either way, is it Clonopin or Clobazam?
Clobazam.
Clobazam?
I take that. So just say Onfi. That's a
Yeah. Yeah, that controls there, they said. Another one says, I don't think I ever had a panic attack, even though my PCP and psychiatrists both insisted for more than a year that my focal aware seizures were panic attacks until I had a tonic-clonic. if you're on the same boat, insist on seeing a neurologist or getting an EEG. Always.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My primary, he barely knows anything about my epilepsy. My neurologist knows everything.
Yeah.
Been dealing with him for 20 years. Someone says, do y'all get offended if someone who doesn't have epilepsy makes a seizure joke? A question because my friend made a seizure joke today and it rubbed me the wrong way. I want to talk to her, but I don't want to seem like rude about it. It makes me very upset because she doesn't even have to deal with what comes up.
I think that's what you have to say to her.
Yeah, I think you gotta let them know.
Like, don't come off aggressive about it, but it's definitely something worth talking about. Where you just want to let them know that, like, I understand that, you don't have to deal with this, and it may just have seemed like a funny joke, but I do have to deal with this, and it's something that does affect me every day.
Any of you guys ever heard that $80 pillow?
No.
Seizure pillow, they said. Well, actually, epilepsy pillow. I guess it's for nocturnal seizures. I don't think I want it. I don't think I have seizures like in my sleep. The one that I had when I was actually laying down, I was in and out of sleep and I just had a headache, so I was laying there. Yeah. So,
Do any of you guys ever get nocturnal seizures?
Say that again?
Do any of you guys ever get nocturnal seizures?
No, not yet.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I don't. When I wake up in the morning, I sleep like a vampire. My blankets are completely the same, so I'm like, well, I at least know I wasn't shaking in my sleep.
Right.
Right.
Rick, do you get the fatigue, like the just
Oh, yes.
fatigue, like really bad?
Yes.
Yeah, I get that too. So do we all.
Oh.
Do you guys find that it helps, like, to just stay moving? Like, if you continue to move, you don't get the drowsiness, but then, like, the second that you sit down, your body's sort of like, okay, you need to take a nap or something.
I've been moving the whole time, if you haven't noticed.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, just staying moving and not, like, being static, I feel like always helps me with the pill drowsiness.
Yeah. I've been moving in this chair the
I
whole
could see
time,
that.
moving my legs and everything.
I think when I switched medicines a few years ago, my jitteriness stopped. Um, I used to just walk around all the time, like walk around the kitchen table like a gerbil on a freaking hamster wheel or something.
Right. Right.
And then just a few years ago, I think I just stopped. I got the fatigue just got worse and worse, and I don't know if it's like a middle age thing or something, or I don't know. It could be something. I don't know. I just packed on like 30 pounds, and I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah.
Is
My fatigue just makes it hard to get out of bed sometimes. And sometimes it's
Yeah.
just like, I think I need more sleep, but I've been asleep for 10 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I operate on so little sleep. I think I only get about 6 hours a night. But for some reason, I'm like, my body has adjusted to that. Where I know that you're supposed to get, a good amount of sleep. With epilepsy, obviously we need our rest. But I found that as long as the sleep schedule is consistent, then it's fine. But if I start shifting around, that's where my head gets all weird. But if I'm sleeping, 12 to 6 a.m. consistently, then I'm fine. So
Okay.
I found that it seems like with me, every third day, I need to take a nap. Like as soon as I get home from work, or actually when I'm at work.
Yep.
Like all of a sudden, I'll be like, hey, it's 2 p.m. I needed a nap right now. So if I'm at work, I'll start walking, and that'll at least let me be okay until I get home. Then as soon as I get home, I tell my wife, I'm going to bed now.
Yeah, it's like that with me. It's like
Yeah.
midday, if I'm like watching TV or something, I'm not walking around, I'm gonna take a nap. It's like I'm watching this movie because I want to watch it, but I'm sitting still, so I'm gonna fall asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't be sitting still for too long. I'm gonna read some of these comments in the offensive jokes. Someone said, I actually had someone make a seizure joke, and when I brought it up to them, they were really sorry and genuinely apologized, and it was super dope. If she's really your friend, you should be able to tell her. Right.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He said, thank you. I just hate confrontation.
I guess
Understandable.
you don't have to think of it as a confrontation. Think of it as a conversation.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Another comment. The problem with seizure jokes is the lack of originality. It's all either, I bet having sex with someone during a seizure would be fun. Then he said, quote, that's actually rape. Or bad dancing. Someone said, I can laugh at some pretty tasteless jokes, even at my own expense, if they're original and funny. The problem is, I've never heard a good epilepsy joke. Me either. I also think we get shitty representation in the media. It's either crude comedy, some paranormal nonsense, or at best, a patient in the hospital. No one is ever just an epileptic just for the sake of someone's people in the world are epileptic. Sometimes people in the world are just epileptic. Okay. Let me
I
see.
think people think of epilepsy and leprosy as the same thing. Like, we're not. Like, we don't need to be sent to a deserted island. Jesus.
Right. Someone said, I make seizure jokes about myself all the time. Gallows humor is my thing. My friends make seizure jokes back at me. We laugh. It's my version of healthy. Okay.
I do kind of want to laugh at myself sometimes, and I've seen a few good jokes in the media. I mean, it helps to laugh. I mean,
Yeah, sometimes.
I I did hear someone describe their like having a seizure as it feeling like there was a storm going on in their brain. To which I went, "Oh my god, brainstorm would be the best superhero name for someone who's epileptic."
Right.
Right. Let's see another one.
Yeah.
Someone said, yes, they're lame, overused jokes, and they're perpetuate the concept of that epilepsy is only photosensitive grand mal epilepsy. Someone said, I don't get shook up about it. Okay, good for you.
What's the statistic again for the people who are photosensitive out of the number of people who have epilepsy? Isn't it like 1% of the 1% of population sort of thing?
I don't even know. I don't want to lie to you. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, no, I just know like the photosensitive stuff is widely overspread, where a lot of people, or like 99% of people with epilepsy don't have photosensitive epilepsy, you know?
Right. I actually learned that I don't have photosynthesis seizures when I went to a epilepsy research. And there was a research and I was like, okay, this is cool. They get to research it, but they're trying to make me have a seizure. They have the cameras around. It's at Stanford Hospital. And then I heard someone talking about how he's getting paid for it. And I was like, you getting paid for this? They kind of just asked me to just do it. My doctor. Then I was like, oh, I'm out of here. You guys are getting paid and I'm just here for fun. And they're going to wait days and days until I just have it. They took me off my pills. At first, they had me on my pills. I'm like, you guys know if I keep taking my pills, I'm going to be okay. They're like, okay, we're going to take you off of them. So I'm like, I'm not going to stay. So they're like, hold on, please. So while the Uber is on the way, they brought out this thing, this big strobe light. And they're like looking to the light, and then it's flashing, goes slow to fast and slow back and forth. Then they're like, close your eyes. And I did it with my eyes closed, and it didn't work. And they're like, okay, we're not sure what's going on. Well, that just means I'm not one of those having photosynthesis seizures. Yeah. Yeah. I don't
Whereas
know why
like,
they think everybody does, but
every video game that you play has to have that seizure warning at the beginning.
right. I
See,
see the
but
seizure warning, and then I'm like, yeah, that isn't me. Click.
What are you gonna say, Kevin?
Huh?
my very first seizure was during a video game, but I never had. I mean, I'm a little photosensitive, but I'm not really. It's just a little photosensitivity, just a little.
Yeah.
Like when I was in high school, they turned the heat up in the room, and it's like 90 degrees in the friggin' room, and I'm watching the board, really trying to focus on the board, trying to do chemistry in your head, and it's like a combination of things. And I had a seizure then. So
Yeah.
it's not just so like if you shine a strobe light in my eye, I'm not gonna have a seizure. But if you combine all those other triggers,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm gonna have a damn seizure. So
Actually, one of mine was at I was at Home Depot, and you know how like when you're at Home Depot, every aisle there's like a million different things. Well, and they also have the bright ass fluorescence shining
Mhm.
down on you.
of
So I
course.
was trying to find a certain size nail. No, it was a screw that I needed, and just the overstimulation of reading all the different labels with the light. I had to find one of those Home Depot buckets to take a seat because I started having a focal from the
Yeah.
overstimulation of like the light and the processing of everything.
Yeah.
That happened to me in a Hobby Lobby where my wife was looking at fabric and I was standing there and I'm like looking around, just seeing all the fabric with all the light and all the yarn and the thread colors and everything. I'm like, oh, I got dizzy. I said, all right, that's it. I got to sit down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think I said that earlier. I gotta just calm down the stimulation
Hmm.
for when
Uh-huh.
I just no less stimulation, and that helps a
Yeah.
lot.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say. Sure. Let me go to the next question because I don't remember what I was gonna say.
Sorry, man.
It says,
I think I have to leave because it's like 1 a.m. right now here.
"Oh, okay, yeah,
Wow.
Oh yeah, actually.
Man, it was really great meeting you all, and talking about this whole stuff really helps me.
me too. I
Will be
like
great with time. Like that's really great. Hearing all
some
your
of this
stories.
stuff can help other people too. With like I said, epilepsy awareness. People can
Yeah.
watch this and understand a lot more
Yes.
than they understand, and maybe stop the jokes, few other
Yeah.
things, whatever.
Are there
Or write better
any
jokes.
Oh, later, Mo. Have a good night.
Later, Mo.
Have a good night.
Good night,
Bye.
Mo.
I was just gonna ask, are there any actual like podcasts about epilepsy? I haven't looked that up.
There was one I seen because I posted this for mine, but his is like it's like one a month, and it's like one person talking about it, just sitting in front of the camera. I thought it'd be a little better to do this. I'm not even gonna promote it because, yeah, I seen
Yeah.
one, but it wasn't that
Having
interesting. It's a person talking about it to a computer.
having
It's
people
more like a
on.
presentation. Yeah.
Yeah. Much better to have people on. Yeah.
Somebody said U.S. insurance sucks. Right.
We all agree.
Mhm.
There's a long story under it. I got a letter today from my insurance company advising that the recent ambulatory EEG is not covered. According to a medical director who specializes in allergy and immunology, aka something so unrelated to neurology, the letter states that it was not medically necessary and there is no record of a standard EEG having been done. Yet my EMU stay was covered with no issue. And I repeat, this was decided by someone that has zero knowledge of neurology, which feels tantamount calling myself detective because I watched numerous seasons of CSI and Law and Order SVU.
Oh my.
He said, "Does that twit not know that I've been on a ridiculous number of medications prescribed by a neurologist and later an eptologist? I've had so much testing related to phase 1 of epilepsy surgery, and I'm going into phase 2, which will involve surgery. I swear to God, Downey, that this is ridiculous. I'm sure that my doctor has gotten the same letter and may have some choice word for them. I've also got the option to submit an appeal of my own. It may be best to leave it to the doctor. She'd probably have nicer way to tell them to go piss off a rope." Yeah. Somebody else said about your doctor can do something called peer-to-peer with a physician at the insurance company. And yes, it's ridiculous and it sucks. Will probably cost the insurance company more money to argue about than it would to just reimburse. Yay to capitalism. Yeah. A wife says, "Husband constantly seizing. I'm scared." He said, "I need help. Please, any advice helps me. My husband got in an accident a month ago and started seizing. He seized every day since." Wow. When we saw the neurologist, we learned this weird blinking thing he's done his whole life were probably seizures, not nervous tic. But who knows? The accident made them really come out full swing. His EEG at the hospital by a different neurologist was inconclusive. So we don't know if he was born with epilepsy or what this is. He lost his ability to speak, read, and write as well. He can now do all of these things perfectly fine, but with seizures but the seizures never stopped. MRI and CT with and without contrast are clear. He either does a small seizure where he shakes his head and stares, or he does the whole thing where he hits the ground and convulses. They get worse at the end of the day when he's tired. He's on 3,000 milligrams of Keppra and 50 milligrams of Lamictal as well because he is still seizing on just Keppra.
I mean, this was a month ago. Like, he's gonna need some time to still recover, but that's a lot of medication, and being on a lot of medication can also lead to seizures. You know,
Right.
Yeah. Well, once again, I'm not a doctor, but they got to go to the emergency room or something for that because that sounds like something else
yeah.
altogether.
My first thought was see a doctor, see a doctor, but
Yeah.
clearly it sounds like they have been.
Sounds like a second opinion is needed.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
My heart goes out to you, whoever you are. I
Yeah.
apologize for you and your husband.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to save that one so I can say that later. Someone says coffee. Just a question mark for coffee. Do you guys drink coffee? And if so, what kind? And what is it? What's the safest to drink? Someone says, is caffeine a confirmed trigger for you? Or you're just afraid it could be? I've heard a lot about not doing caffeine, so
Somebody else want to take this?
But yeah.
Kevin, you said you're off coffee,
I'm
right?
off coffee, but I still do drink caffeine.
Okay, and Rick, coffee? Yes, no.
Sometimes soda.
Yeah,
But I've also heard so people who also suffer from migraines or ADHD, coffee really helps them focus and keeps the migraines away. And fixing that also fixes triggers for their seizures. So I know two people that do that.
Yeah.
So I think
When
it really depends on what the trigger is.
Yeah, because like you said, for some people it does help. When I first got diagnosed, I kept drinking coffee, and I was doing it was essentially 4 shots of espresso in the morning. And I thought I was fine. I was just getting really jittery, but I thought it was just the caffeine. And then I had a seizure in the middle of drinking coffee. And from that point on, I started to cut down. And now I basically will only have it like I'll have maybe a cup, or like half a cup, with my girlfriend on the weekends. But I found that I can't have coffee in the morning. It has to be after I've already like eaten breakfast and lunch. Like I need the food in my stomach. Otherwise, it's
Right.
just
Mhm.
yeah. Like
Rick,
Yeah, so
I got to ask you,
Mm.
you take Depakote, right?
say
Who?
that
I
again.
did.
Oh, great.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I didn't like the side effects, and I requested if I could go back on what I used to be on.
Okay. I was just curious about headaches and Depakote, you know?
Yes, headaches, muscle fatigue, where at one point I couldn't even lift my hand up to go sign a birthday card. I had to use my other
Wow.
arm to force myself to do it. And muscle aches, muscle fatigue, headaches, super tired, where I needed like 4 naps a day. And when I saw my neurologist, I said, "Can you get me off of this stuff?" And they had to have me wean off of it as I was going back on to lacosamide. And I noticed each week as I took less Depakote, I was feeling so much better.
Okay. Well, thank you. I
Oh, you're
appreciate
welcome.
that.
That's really helpful information for anybody who might want to, swap to that med. Yeah.
right. Someone said my family doesn't want me at the wedding because of my epilepsy. Wow.
Fuck your family. Sorry. That was
Right.
me.
No,
No,
that was my first thought also.
safe space here. You can say
Yeah.
what you want.
He said my cousin is getting married this Saturday, and I got a wedding invitation in December. Yesterday, his mom called and said, "You better keep an eye on her." She was referring to me not throwing a seizure and ruining the wedding. My mom thought I didn't hear the conversation when I confronted her, and I told her I was refusing to go to the wedding. She said I was exaggerating, and in fact, the comment was out of compassion and that she didn't want anything to happen to me. Her tone, that's not how it sounded. She spoke as if I were a crazy brat who has serious behavior problems and tantrums. What would you do in my place? I wouldn't go.
I stand your ground.
Yeah, I wouldn't go. I'd be
Yep.
like, hey, all right.
You don't want me there? Fine.
I don't want you to explain why, but I'm not going.
I always try to be empathetic. I always try to see the opposite side of things. And um, I know I don't have much family. Uh, always keep an open mind to why they're doing this. I know it's an awful thing they're doing that they're saying, but you only get one family, so
Yeah, and
Right.
I know.
that might be worth having a conversation,
Yeah.
Yes.
about, what do you think I'm going to do? Why do
Yeah.
you think, I'm medicated, I'm not going to do it, or, I'm not going to go fall on the wedding cake, like what did you think was going to happen?
Actually, I think it like asking them that question
Yeah.
is probably the better option. Like it still hold your ground if the
Mhm.
answers aren't aren't anything that makes sense.
It's
But opening
aggravating.
up that line of communication,
Yeah.
just being like, what do you really think is going to happen? And then when they give reasons, you can be like, you do realize how ridiculous this sounds, right?
Right,
And
because they
hopefully,
could be ignorant about
yeah,
what it
yeah,
actually is, and what they see on TV might be what they think's going to happen,
yeah.
type of
No,
a thing.
okay, Kevin and Rick, you guys are right. Sorry, Pookie. They swung me.
No,
They
no, I
swung me.
mean
Got
you
you.
were right to be angry. That's
Yeah.
yeah, it is. It's aggravating. It's infuriating, but yeah. I mean, just yeah.
Someone
That's it.
responded and they said, "Well, I cut my family off a decade ago because of how they treated me, and therefore they haven't mocked me for my speech patterns or left me out of any events or hit me for rolling my eyes for the last 10 years. So that's where I'd start. Cut that aunt right out of your life. She can go to hell, and your mom can take that walk as well. Ooh. Right.
That's a little bit different because that person's coming from obviously having abuse and having to deal
Right.
with stuff over years.
Right.
You know, we don't know how this person is with their aunt. So maybe it's, you know, it depends on the situation. If they're just one comment, two comments, okay, talk it over. If it's like years of dealing with that, then yeah, you push them off.
Yeah.
That sounds very different. Yeah.
Yeah. That sucks. Someone said, I'd actually go to the wedding, then randomly ask anyone who wants to break dance. Oh, man. I like the funny ones. Someone said, oh, F that. I'm literally at the bachelorette's party as we speak. There's another second party tomorrow and a wedding the day after. So what if you're wiggly, you're still family? Yeah. Not everyone feels like that.
Yeah. That's what we would like everyone to feel like. So
Yeah.
what if you're wiggly? Your family.
Right. So what if you're wiggly, your family? Someone said weddings suck. You have an excuse not to go. Lucky you. Just wait for them to get divorced, and then it will be like it never happened. Hey, what wedding?
Well, you know.
And have you guys ever used like the sort of used it as an excuse to get out of something that you didn't want to go to? Just been like, sorry, my head's not feeling that great. Not gonna do it today.
Yeah.
Like,
We've
oh,
all-
I got to
We've
take my
done
meds at a certain time. Got to go.
I think I've used it because it
Yeah.
actually happened, but I don't think I've actually like lied. Like, oh, I'm not feeling well. I'm not gonna do this.
Well, I'm not gonna give you any of my excuses because I did. I mean, like in detention and stuff. I said, "Oh, I gotta go take my medicine." And I know that.
I feel you there.
Yeah.
Someone else said, I just got out of a 3-day coma. Yikes.
Ooh.
I had tried to quit my Kepler cold turkey, quit weed as well, was doing well, won a few months, no seizures, started a new job that was very labor intense. I'm lifting well over 50 to 75 pounds per load at our job site when handling concrete, working in the Vegas heat as well. Streak ended a week ago. I had 4 seizures back to back. While with my kids, woke up 3 days later in the hospital. I was told I was in a coma, chipped my tooth badly, and lost lots of hours of work. Even worse, work found out about epilepsy. Concrete company was not happy about it. Back on Kepra, and just overall really down mentally about the coma. I totally understand.
Damn, that's a lot. I mean, not just cutting out meds, and I mean, I know not everyone with epilepsy smokes weed, but I find that it does help slow my brain down.
Helps me eat.
Yeah, it's good for different reasons, you know. It's not a bad thing necessarily. But cutting out all your sort of things at once and then going to not only labor intensive but also in a very hot situation, like you're kind of that's a double-edged sword there. You're not going to win. Like
Yeah,
Perfect
four back to
storm, but
back is insane.
that was like a perfect storm setting up for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like him. I had a seizure and I chipped my tooth, but I actually put myself in a dumb situation because I went to work for somebody who knew I couldn't work regular jobs. So they're like, okay, I went to church with them. They're like, you can work here. We don't have much for you to do. I'm like, okay, cool. Everyone's working, building stuff. And then someone's like, oh, can you go plug this up? And I'm like, what do you mean go plug this up? And he's like, if you go in the attic, I'm going to hand you the cord. And I'm like, what? Then I'm like, well, it might not happen, so let me do it. I go up in the attic. I'm on my stomach. I get to the place where the light is supposed to be. The hands through the cords. I plug it in. I got out. When I got out, he showed me this hole that I should continue digging. So I started to continue digging the hole for a foundation for a patio, and I fell in the hole. And that's when I chipped my tooth. But actually, I didn't chip my tooth right then. When I got in the ambulance, my lip was in between my teeth, and when I took it out, the tooth chipped.
Oh. Mm. How many stitches did you need in your lip?
I didn't need any. It just popped right out. Nice. Also, I had one after I got baptized. I had to go up and give my speech. I don't know if it was just overwhelming with the people, but I had a seizure as soon as I got up there, and I stood up after that, and I dropped the mic, and I walked off. Have a good day, you guys. And they laughed, and someone came over like, oh, he's having a seizure. That's why he's doing that. Yeah, so I didn't give my speech. I dropped the mic like I gave the speech and walked away.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah. I didn't write a speech, so good thing I didn't have to do it. So comments for this 3-day coma. Let's see. Someone says, sounds like you got to keep those electrolytes up and talk to Doc about better medicines for you. Keppra isn't for everyone, and there's a ton of others to try. I think I personally went through 7 meds before I found one for me. She's right. Something for everyone. Yeah. Someone said, you have the right attitude for when life is dropping a massive turd on your chest. Keep at it and don't give up. There are many other options for effective drugs that aren't Keppra. Hopefully your hospital stay got you connected to their epilepsy clinic, and hopefully you can start seeing epileptologists, and hope you get better. Man. I know people always say, I know how you feel, but they really don't know how we feel. I was in a coma for 2 weeks in August and still haven't gotten my life back. I finally got diagnosed with epilepsy. Oh, he said, I finally diagnosed myself with epilepsy. What is going on?
That's not the way to go, but okay.
Right. I guess. See it on TV. Someone said, this is like when I missed my 2 doses and ended up in psych unit for 2 weeks. Meds are important. Ask about extended release Keppra so you can try only take it at night. Never heard that.
Yeah, that my doctor had mentioned that at one point, that it works for some people to take the extended release ones.
Yeah. They gave me Keppra, but I didn't take it. I got 2 bottles because I got these at the emergency room. And my doctor, my neurologist was like, no, don't take those. I gave you Lamictal. And then another doctor, she diagnosed nasalium. You ever heard that?
Never
I never even opened it, but let's see.
Like
I was at this one place and this guy told me when he takes this after a seizure, it puts him to sleep. I guess so it doesn't, I don't know, I guess. You sleep afterwards so you don't have a seizure?
Is it like some form of Narcan? Yeah, it literally looks like Narcan. That's what you would give someone if they're having a drug overdose.
Right. And when I got it from the doctor, she goes, this is a rescue medication. And I'm like, in my head, what do you mean rescue? Because
it's Narcan. They literally gave you seizure Narcan.
Yeah, this one guy told me it puts him to sleep within a minute. Yeah. Sometimes less, he said.
I've read stories online of people going into seizures and getting Narcan. EMTs giving them Narcan.
Yeah, because that's what I was saying it earlier, where EMTs will think that you're having, a drug overdose, so they'll give you Narcan instead of addressing the actual problem because they just assume,
Right, yeah.
actually spoke to my neurologist about that, if I should carry a card with me or an ID bracelet, just in case.
I'm gonna get
'Cause
the
I,
bracelet.
I've heard of stories where, people got beat up, people, other things happened to them because they were having a seizure and they thought it was a drug overdose or something like that. So,
Yeah,
especially when
like
people.
when I walked in the rehab and told them get out of my house.
right.
Could have
Yeah,
been bad.
I've heard of people who have like attacked the cops that have been like, there when they wake up from their or when their posticle not necessarily there yet, but
Mhm.
like they're attacking the cops and it's like it's not their fault.
Right.
Right.
Someone asked that guy, sounds good. You were months seizure free, but question, why did you choose to quit Keppra? And he said, the Keppra gave me headaches, makes it difficult for me to eat. And for the moment, when I was drinking and smoking and not going to church, they even got addictive. Needed them to sleep, sort of thing. Was popping 10 a day. Wow.
Whoa,
10 Keppra a day?
no, that dude was abusing his medication. That is not how that medication works.
I got to keep
Right.
going to the thread. The other person went back. It was like, can you tell your doctor if he could change you to some medication with less side effects? And then he said, question, does Keppra affect libido or manhood? Um, he said, sorta. I wouldn't or care to have relations with my wife more than once a week, if that. I wouldn't have trouble getting stuff, but often more than not, I just didn't care about sex unless, of course, I was drunk. I've been there, like, yeah, I'm cool.
Yeah, I can attest to that.
Somebody said, damn, 10 a day and booze? Yeah. Man, I can't believe you're talking about just going cold turkey.
Cold turkey off of 10 a day. When he said cold turkey, I
Right.
thought he meant like he was taking the normal like 1 in the morning,
Right.
1 at
2 or
night.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was popping those like candy.
Right.
Did he have a
Then
did he
there's
have a
another
Pez
person
dispenser?
here. There's another person who says, does anyone get headaches from Keppra? And then he said, ever since I started on Keppra for absence seizures, since lamotrigine didn't work, I've had a headache every single morning when I wake up. Is this normal? I never took Keppra, so I don't know.
I don't get I think am I the only one on Kepra right now? Yeah, I'm the only one here on Kepra. Um it, I don't get headaches. I think that guy needs to hydrate more. Because I did notice that I got like I started getting really really thirsty after I started taking Kepra for some reason. I mean, I work outside on bikes, so I drink a lot of water anyway. But I'll take my I don't know where it is, my like Yeti water bottle, and I can chug the entire thing full down to empty in no time, and that's like what I use, or like that's how much I drink when I just take my pill. I think that guy needs to hydrate more.
Right. Um, yeah, like me, when I have a myoclonic, I start getting the hot flashes, and then like I get the metallic taste in my mouth, but I did not know it was myoclonic until I joined the group. And I used to get up and I'd just be like, let me get an ice cream, something to change this flavor in my mouth. Mouth dry and did not know I was having a seizure. So yeah, this has been very informative. Let's find something else.
Actually, I hate to run, but
It's
I
all right.
have to. I gotta go to the store and get stuff for dinner. So I hope you all have a great rest of your night. Nice to meet you, Kevin, Poogie, and Rick. Yeah. You messaged me on Reddit, so if you're doing another one of these things, hit me up again. Yeah.
Yeah, just message me because I forgot your names.
Brandon.
You know how that goes. No, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna remember that when I
Oh
get to
no! I know.
Reddit.
I'm reminding you
Send me a message
with
and you're
full
like, I'm the
knowledge.
one from Reddit.
Don't worry. Yeah,
I'm the
I got
one
you.
from the chat.
Exactly. All right.
Okay.
Have a great rest of your night, guys.
All right,
You
have
Later.
a
too,
good one.
Brandon.
Stay safe.
Man. Someone said, I don't know what to think. I was diagnosed with focal temporal lobe epilepsy in February.
I
Love
think
or lobe?
they probably
Lobe.
meant lobe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After an abnormal EEG, had a second EEG about a couple weeks later, still abnormal. I'm from a smaller city, so no epilepsy specialists. Anyways, I just spoke with my neurologist, and it's the most defeating thing. I forgot how hard it was to talk to him. I was obviously anxious and probably wasn't making sense. I don't even know what to think. I feel like he listened to half of what I was saying and said that was probably anxiety. I straight up said, I don't like how you just said that. I am not an anxious person, and I am only anxious right now because I feel like you won't believe me. Despite the abnormal EEGs, he thinks my symptoms are functional seizures rather than epileptic now. Like he told me that it was TLE. What's TLE? Oh, the
That's what
temporal lobe.
that's what I have, yeah.
And obviously, I am stressed out, and now my whole family knows. And then all of a sudden, because I show some anxiety, that symptoms are irregular. Some could very well be functional. I have no idea. He gave me a piece of paper of what epilepsy is instead of explaining it himself. Doctors, especially neurologists, should have some sensitivity training. I just have no idea what to think now, and I was just coming to terms with having epilepsy. But he doesn't even know now. Has anyone experienced something similar? I'm lost. Uh, no,
Well,
not me.
so when I had my first seizure, went to the ER, and that's when the guy was just flipping out. Everybody, gets a seizure. Everybody's entitled to getting a seizure, and just dismissed me, let me go. Said my CAT scan looked fine. Didn't see that I had a brain abscess or an ear infection. And he says everything's fine. Um, when had several more misdiagnoses before I fell that time and taken by ambulance, and that's when they did another CAT scan and realized I had the brain abscess. Then all of a sudden they paid attention.
Mm.
So yeah, I kind of had that where the guy was just flipping about, oh, everybody's entitled to one, and whatever.
Yeah, one of the comments says it can take a long time to get a diagnosis. EEG isn't the only sole diagnosis. Criterion Epilepsy Foundation helped me find a level 4 epilepsy center. They also have online support. I also found a lot of help from Brain Injury Alliance. A weekly Zoom support group has really been a lifesaver. Well, that's what we're doing now.
Hmm.
Then someone said, not all neurologists are specialized in epilepsy. Find someone who will listen to you. Someone said, you're very nice. Thank you. I had my third seizure some 15 days back. Had previous in July last year and 5 years back. The neurologist prescribed an additional med for the focal seizure in addition to Levira, which are already increased. Does anyone have any delayed after effects of seizures? I keep having this weird tremors seizures in my whole body when I am asleep. It's always in the afternoon, and right now it's also summer here. Oh, so this is old. It always happens when I'm in a deep sleep. Like I can feel like there are weird sensations, like not a seizure, but I can feel something is wrong, and I can't really yell or speak. Last time I thought I was just having a nightmare. The moment it goes, I'm fine. Like I will walk, check myself, and in the mirror, speak and check for weaknesses. I'm fine. I'm already dealing with hand weakness due to brain swelling. Should I inform others? I am trying to get a job and I'm finally making good progress. I am doing meditation and all. I really don't know what to do. I'm so sorry for you. Ugh. I get the weird sensation. So yeah, I understand what they mean. The focal seizures. Uh, yeah.
After when I remember dealing with after always after my grand mal seizures or tonic-clonic, that's what I call them. Uh, it would take me nearly a full day to recover. It was That's how traumatic mine were. But um, the focal seizures, I don't think I had many of those. But my yeah, it physically recovering from the grand mal seizures, it was those were very difficult to recover from, just all around. Uh, I would have migraines, and I would have to. I would have a whole process recovering from that. It would include uh, comfort food, and uh, I would have to take a long hot shower.
I
Yeah,
go get some candy or something just to change the taste of my mouth.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that does suck. But also, like he said, the nightmare thing, I've had those, but it really wasn't a nightmare. It was like I'm wide awake, I'm looking a direction, and I can't move and I can't talk. And I'm trying to like talk and say something, but finally when I get the word out, I'm screaming. So
Oh, okay.
I've got that. Yeah, I don't know if that's a seizure. I guess I would have to explain that to my neurologist, but that's not it's not fun.
No.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. So I have a question. So as you're recovering from a seizure, do you feel like you're talking normal or you're acting normal or things are okay, but other people around you are like, you're not making any sense, or um, you need to sit down, or like, do you feel like you're processing things okay, and other people are like, no, you're not
yeah,
making any sense.
yeah, I get that. Someone's like, "Sit down. You're gonna do this and this." And I'm like, "I'm good now. I'm feeling it. I'm good. I feel good." I was like, "But you don't
That's
look good."
Right.
yeah. Yeah, I'm very erratic after a seizure. It takes me maybe like 10 minutes to remember my name even. Um, it's very, very traumatic. Like I just said there, it, and I just need space, you know,
Hmm.
for a long
Well,
time.
yeah.
That's what I remember. It's very, very, very traumatic, and I don't like people, especially the EMTs, like launching questions at me, like the date, who's the president, what's
Hmm.
this,
Oh,
what's
I hate that. Do you know
oh
where you are? Of
yeah.
course I don't.
No, I
Um,
don't know. I can't remember. I can't remember
do you know
shit
the
right
date?
now.
No, I don't know the date. I didn't know the date before. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. With me, like I feel like I'm telling a story, or oh yeah, at work, blah blah blah, and like people are saying like you're mixing up your words, you're not making any sense. I'm like, all right, sounds normal to me.
Hmm. Yeah.
Here's a good one. Someone said, "Anybody have any breakthrough ideas after a seizure?" Hmm. He said, "So I'm a writer. I just had a grand less than an hour ago. And for the first thing I did after becoming safe is go write down some crazy stories, ideas that popped in my head during an episode. Has this ever happened to anyone else? Aside from when Doc Brown hit his head, went unconscious, and woke up with idea for the flux capacitor. Okay.
Flux capacitor. Yeah. Uh, write down any good ideas you got. That's good. That's very
Yep,
good.
yep.
All right. Somebody said, unfortunately, the opposite. I'll have a brilliant idea and then have a seizure later and forget it. Like, damn it, at least let me write it down first. However, I will note that historically, a lot of famous creative types actually have seizures or they're epileptic.
Mhm.
Someone
Did
said, wow. Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Did you see one of the posts that somebody listed famous people that have had seizures or epilepsy, and it's like Edgar Allan Poe, and there's like all these people that they list. I can't remember any of the other names right now, but it just the list just kept going and going and going and going. I thought that was
Yeah, I didn't see that, but
thing.
I actually have, let's see.
Yeah, you can look it up off ChatGPT or anything. Any you can Google them. Anyone from Prince to Dostoevsky or Lil Wayne, or yeah, a lot of great people.
Yeah. I saw that in that list. Yeah.
Yeah, there was something that the other day. Would you like an epileptic president or something like that? Would an epileptic president focus on epilepsy? I like the idea of an epileptic president because I think that would educate the world from one's experience at a high position like a president. That's one of the safest jobs, and he or she would have Secret Service for 24-hour care.
That's interesting.
And then it said, hopefully he won't be an epileptic president, but a president.
I think that might be
I heard James Madison had epilepsy. Not a clue what he focused on, though. James Madison.
I know his wife made ice cream.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Dolly Madison invented ice cream, but Erdogan. I'll have to look that up later.
Someone said, if the public knew, I doubt they would elect him. Sad but true.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I think somebody would be like, yeah, we don't need to know about that. We need you to take care of this.
Yeah.
Unless it came out after election.
I don't think they would have much knowledge about it. Back in that day, they would probably write it off as something else. I think Julius Caesar also had epilepsy.
Yeah, I saw that in the list also.
Yeah. But if there was a major president who had something like that in the past, it would probably just be written off as something else, I think.
Right. I made a post. It said, I kneel before people who don't need alarms for pill schedules. You guys need alarms?
No, actually, I no, but that's not like a judgment on anyone else. I mean, it took so many years of practice, and it just does take like routine. That would be the word I would use. Like I would take my medicine at 12 o'clock. And every time I would associate 12 o'clock medicine, 12 o'clock medicine, and it's almost obsessive, you know? So just get into a routine with your medicine.
Someone
Yep,
said,
I agree.
someone said, I need alarms to eat.
Wow.
Someone said, yep, and brushing my teeth and hair too.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Someone says, I have a morning and night pill box. I have them by my watch so I don't forget. Yeah, I'm trying to, let's go back to the homepage, see what we can find. Question. Seasonal seizure. Hi, I'm new to this Reddit, but I was wondering if someone could help me in this. It may be just a coincidence, but last year I had a seizure around the start of May, and last night I just had another seizure, and it's the end of April. As I said, it may just be coincidence, as these are the only two I've ever had, but if someone could give me a logical answer, that would be great. Don't tell me to go to the hospital. I just did, and nothing was odd, but my first EKG reading. Okay. Someone said, I'm not a doctor, but I guess humidity would be the factor triggered them, like mine, or by heat or humidity.
Could be allergies too. Maybe I don't, allergies, asthma.
I could definitely see some relevance to there's might be something there. I get I don't feel well when the seasons are changing, so yeah. Like my sleep patterns change when fall and spring come. So yeah.
Okay. Another one says, anyone else get dreams about having a seizure? tried to go to sleep last night, sort of fell asleep. I don't know how, but I ended up in my dark hallway and started having a seizure. I fell to the ground and I couldn't move or barely speak. Then I woke up and my body was tense. Shit's terrifying. Does someone else have any dreams about seizure? It felt so scary. I don't think I've had any dreams about seizures. No.
Recently, when my health started to change, I started to gain weight. I started like waking up yelling, but I think off the top of my head, I can't remember because you always forget dreams. But I've been waking up yelling a lot lately, like waking up shouting a lot, and that's I don't know. I don't know if that's related to anything, but
Yeah, I get those shouting spurts. It's like I'm asleep. I can't move. I can see my eyes. I mean, I can see, I can hear, but I can't move and I can't talk. And then, like I said, like finally when I get a word out, it's a scream. So
yeah.
I get those. I wouldn't say a dream, but then someone else said, literally, I had one last night, I believe. Though it's quite fuzzy, I remember seizures showing up frequently in my dream.
Yeah.
Someone said, yes, I've dreamed about seizures and grand mal seizures. And every time I wake up startled because I think I had a seizure. I think that would be the part too. If I thought about a seizure, I might wake up like, hey, since I can wake up.
Well,
Yeah.
there's a lot of dread hanging on. I mean, I've been seizure free for a long time, but there's a lot of nervousness and dread still. I mean, it's a very normal feeling, and uh,
Meds that don't cause drowsiness. Are there any seizure meds that don't cause drowsiness and exhaustion? I don't think so.
Yeah, the ones that don't work.
yeah, right.
No, I don't think I could agree. Someone said Lamictal was rough for me at first, but taking the extended release version helps. I'm gonna have to look into that. Someone said neither Tegretol or lamotrigine ever caused me drowsiness, but they're best for temporal lobe epilepsy.
Say with the lacosamide, I'm less tired than I was with the Depakote.
Oh, okay.
It's interesting. I'm taking a lot of Depakote right now. Taking 1,500 right now a day. So
I don't remember what my dose was. It was 8 pills a day, but I don't
wow.
remember. Yeah, I don't remember what the dose was, but I was much less tired on the lacosamide.
That sounds like a lot higher than my dose, but I have a lot of the same uh, symptoms that you talked about. So, but yeah, drowsiness, tiredness, yeah. So, but I don't know if of any medicines that don't have sleepiness or
Slow down
drowsiness.
things in your
Yeah.
brain, so I would imagine that would cause drowsiness.
Yeah, I think the same thing. It's meant to be.
Yeah.
Another one. Seizures from excitement, anyone? Does anyone else get seizures triggered by excitement, high emotion? I'm finishing school this week for good, and I'm already anticipating it triggering me. I had one on New Year's Day because I was seeing family, and then one a week of my birthday because I had exciting plans. Is it just me? No, I don't have excitement or seizures from excitement. Uh, like I said, I've seen someone who laughs. She has like just laughing spurts for a few minutes, and it's crazy. I mean, not crazy because I don't want to call her crazy, but it's wild to see.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um,
done some exciting things and it did not trigger anything. So
Right.
No, not me personally. But we all have different triggers, so
yeah.
That's not me personally. No.
One of the comments was, "Oh yeah, big time. My primary triggers are stress, anxiety, extreme emotion, family events, large gatherings, trying to sleep the night before something I'm really excited about."
Yeah, like large gatherings. Like I need space. I could relate to that. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I could see
Someone
that.
else. Someone else said, "Very much so. Since I don't have photosensitive epilepsy, I can still go to concerts and go pretty often and almost always get a seizure the morning of the concert because I'm so excited. I have a concert I've been looking forward to for over a year coming up in just over a week, and I'm already stressing that I'm going to have a seizure in the morning. I wish I could give you advice of how to control those emotions, but I'm still struggling with it myself. LOL. Just know that it's normal for stuff like this to be a trigger. Wishing you the best." Yeah, excitement. Okay.
It's always good to go out and or go to concerts. Wish you best of luck with that. Anyone who I went to a concert about 3 years ago. Uh, I didn't have any photo effects from
Me
that,
either.
but um, uh, but uh, the day after there was nothing nothing too bad. No,
Okay, I found another interesting one. I'm sorry if I cut you off. You done?
no,
Oh,
no, it was good.
someone said,
I
"Can you
kind of
guys?"
trail off a lot. Yeah.
Someone said, "Can you guys speak after a grand mal?" I can. But the question was, whenever I have a grand mal or tonic clonic, I'm unable to speak for 3 hours after. It's so frustrating because I feel I know what I want to get out, but it just won't come out. Speaking to a friend who recently had a seizure, she said she was able to speak after it. Is it dependent on the type of seizures I have? Hmm.
Um,
I can
I've
speak
heard.
after. They're always
I can't.
questioning me, so
I can't speak after either. No, no, that's perfectly normal. But I've actually heard people say that they can, but me personally, no.
okay.
Yeah. I think
No,
it depends on where the seizure is taking place. So, like, no matter what type of seizure I'm having, I could talk. It's getting me to stop. That's the trick. But I,
yeah.
the only thing that I found is when I had a tonic clonic one, it was that I was talking and people said I wasn't making sense.
I've got that before. And I'm like, "You're not making sense. Go sit down somewhere. You're gonna have a
Right.
seizure."
Yes.
You can get the
Yeah.
words out, I guess. They won't make any sense. Yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Someone said, "I always been able to talk a little bit, but my speech will be slurred and disorganized. I'll be confused, groggy, and forgetful. I even forgot my name once. Been there. Someone asked me my name. I'm like, what?
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
eh. Someone said, I can speak, but usually I'm out of it, whether with paramedics or friends. I'll have conversations and say stuff that won't really make sense. Then maybe an hour or so later, I'll realize and straight up ask whoever I'm speaking to if I've had a seizure. That's when they know I'm actually there now. Mm. Yeah, I've had that. Like, did I have a seizure? Asking that, just have that
Yeah.
vibe, and
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. I
Do you
totally
know
get
your
that.
triggers, Rick?
Definitely.
Yeah, I don't really know my triggers yet.
But I don't get anxious that often, but if I do, that's not a trigger. Caffeine's not a trigger. I'm not photosensitivity, but definitely heat. Heat will do it.
Yeah, I heard that. People always tell me that it's hot out here. You shouldn't be doing this, that, whatever.
Yeah.
One of the comments is, I feel like it has more to do with the severity of the seizure. I've had some where I can't really walk or stand long or for a couple of days, and I've had some where totally fine after a couple of hours of sleep. My husband has never said anything about me not being able to speak. He says I usually cry, panic for a second, and then usually fall back to sleep and disassociate. Another person said, I struggle sometimes. The biggest issue is I think I said words and then I realize I didn't. I think technically I can speak, but I'm not always aware that I'm not speaking because I think I did. Usually I pass out and sleep. So by default, not really speaking.
All I can say is I got to go after this. I got to go soon, but you just be good to your body afterwards. It's a very traumatic experience, and just take care of yourself afterwards.
Right.
Okay. So just be kind to yourself, and your health is really important, and just yeah,
Yes.
just yeah.
It's
Listen to your
really
body.
just like just like any other type of problem that people deal with, you have to realize, you need to heal, you need to recover. So, having a seizure is not any different than having an asthma attack or you fall and break your leg. I mean, there's all sorts of things that we go through and we recover and we rest, we take care of ourselves, like you said, and it's the same thing with the seizures too. You're having an issue, take care of yourself. That way you'll be healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I gotta go. All right, in touch with you. And all right, everyone out there, have a good day. All right.
Hey,
too.
you too.
All right, bye.
Um,
I do need to get going. My wife keeps texting me, it's time for dinner, time for dinner. I'm like, all right, all right.
all right. Well, you have a good day, good rest of your day. And
Oh, absolutely.
it's more fun than a lot of things. So
Absolutely. And it was great meeting you, and thank you so much for setting this up. It was helpful, it was great, venting, learning, laughing. I mean, it was a great experience. I really loved it.